Well, the world has sure gone nutty, buddy, even downright cruddy, buddy. Wish I missed the past, buddy, but there's still Buddycast. No, don't be naughty, go meet a buddy here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Merry Christmas, buddies! It's time for another episode of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen, and joining me today is the VIP of the holiday season. You know, you love him. You're good for him for 365 days a year. My friend Santa Claus. How you doing, Santa?
Ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Nick. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today, Santa.
Well, Santa was a little befuddled by the technology, but thank God the elves are up on all that stuff, and they helped me get on with you. So thanks to the elves. Thanks for inviting me, Nick. I'm glad to be here.
Yep. So, Santa, speaking of elves, how are things going up at the North Pole?
Well, you know, they're going pretty well. I have to tell you, it's a beautiful day up at the North Pole. It's snowing and blowing and windy. Perfect weather for December. And, Santa likes that cold weather because I'm a little bit worried about global warming. But thankfully, there's plenty of snow. We won't have any problem delivering our gifts with the sleigh this year. And the elves and the reindeer are healthy. They've been working out and preparing for the season. And Santa now has his delivery team already. We call that the SDT. And you have to be careful when you say those initials. You want to get them right. SDT.
Yes.
That's Santa's delivery team. And Rudolph's doing pretty well. You know, he actually added some LED lights to his nose, so his nose burns a little brighter. And we've added tail lights this year. That'll eliminate any chance of an accident and having some brown-nosed reindeer. So the tail lights are very effective. They've worked very well so far.
Tail lights are very important. You got that right.
And the elves are busy. We're manufacturing toys. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule at this point. And I'm proud to tell you we're not having any problems with the supply chain issues. You know, that's been a problem worldwide. But at the North Pole, we're in pretty good shape. And we've also added a little bit of automation because there's a little bit of a labor shortage. As you know, it's a problem worldwide. But with automation, production is actually ahead of schedule. So I think we're going to be ready for the big day. As a matter of fact, I know we're going to be ready for the big day. And I'll be able to deliver all the presents to the good boys and girls.
That's wonderful. You know, Santa, I actually heard we should call this a Santa joke. You know how they say dad jokes? Let's call it a Santa joke. The other day at the Erie Philharmonic. So I hear you're in the market for a new sleigh. So Santa goes up to the salesman and says, "How much for this new sleigh?" And the salesman says, "It's on the house."
That slays me.
Yeah. There we go.
Very good, Nick. Very good. It's a great story. And you know, the old sleigh usually is on the house. And we have to make sure we land at the right house, you know, and make sure the chimney is proper, that it doesn't fall down when Santa slides down. But usually, well, not usually, always we find a way to get into the house. Even if there's no chimney, we'll find a way.
What do you do in that case? I know you use magic, but what do you do if there's no chimney?
Well, I have a little Jimmy kit. I usually get into the back door.
Or
maybe lift a window. There's ways of getting around, you know.
So Santa
never does any damage. He's very, very cautious.
Absolutely. Now, Santa, I know Christmas is 20 days away, but are you all set? You ready? You ready for the big night?
Well, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, you know, preparation for the big night actually starts on the 26th of December, the very day after Christmas. Preparation is a big, big deal. All the reindeer, they like to work out, and it's very important. And when they work out, generally they go to the Y, but sometimes right after Christmas, we actually load everybody up in a cargo plane and take a trip to Hawaii, where it's nice and warm.
Ooh.
So they could swim and play on the beach, play volleyball. You might even see Santa surfing. When I go to the beach, I trim my beard a little bit so I'm not so recognized, and I get a haircut. And I wear a pair of red swim trunks and a red T-shirt and a jaunty little cap with a little white pom-pom on the top, just like the one on my hat here. And we have a great time on Hawaii.
Ooh, what do you do on vacation?
Well, mostly we rest up and we work out, so we're physically fit and ready for the next year's activities. But like I say, we do some surfing, and I do the hula dance. I do the hula dance of that Christmas song, Mehel Kaliki Maka. It's my favorite Christmas song. And I love to do the hula, especially if a little hula girl doing the dance with me. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm. Now, Santa, that brings up my next question. Let's play a little game, a game of favorites. You said your favorite Christmas song. You said you like Kaliki Maka. Do you have another favorite Christmas carol?
Well, actually, I have two.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Santa Claus is coming to town, because that gets everybody excited about me coming. And I love excitement, and the kids love excitement, so that's a lot of fun. But the Christmas song I like best is really Silent Night. That's a song that tells the true meaning of Christmas. It explains the reason for the season. So it's a very beautiful and touching story. Santa Claus is part of Christmas, but there's much more to Christmas than just Santa.
Mm-hmm. You got that right. What about your favorite Christmas cookie?
Well, I think I like a gingerbread man the most. They're kind of spicy, and I like the white frosting. And that comes to my joke, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Why did the gingerbread man go to the doctor?
Why did he?
Because he was feeling kind of crummy.
That is awesome. And now, Santa, there are a bunch of actors who like to play you in movies. So what's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie doesn't include Santa at all.
What?
I like It's a Wonderful Life. I think that's a beautiful movie. It's the story of George Bailey, who lives in a little town, and he's such a good man. And George runs into some trouble, but there's a Christmas angel called Clarence that comes to his rescue. And Clarence makes sure that George knows all the good he's done in his town of Bedford Falls. And it's a wonderful story. And again, Christmas has many facets, and they're not all about Santa. But that movie is just one of my favorites. I always enjoyed that movie very much. George was a very good man, and that's what we all need to be, good men.
Mm-hmm. What about, this is another question that I want to add to you. What are some of your favorite cities to travel through on the big night?
Well, I do like the quick stop in Hawaii. It's very quick, but it's warm. I get a chance to warm up. I try to do that about midway around the globe, That way I have a little warm-up time. And New York City's kind of fun. It's very interesting. A lot of people there. Boy, we have to make really quick deliveries. You'd be surprised how rapid we have to be in some of those high-rise buildings. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge. But we're up for the challenge. And I like Washington, D.C., just to see all the monuments. That's great fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Erie, Pennsylvania is my favorite place to visit because it reminds me of the North Pole.
Yay! I love the Erie, Pennsylvania. And you're right, because the amount of snow that we can possibly get,
Yeah, right now I think I heard it's not snowing too hard, but by Christmas time, I'm sure we'll have some.
Mm-hmm. And that brings up a follow-up question. How do you stay safe on the roof? How do you stay, if there's an icy roof or it's very snowy out, how do you stay safe?
Well, number one, we have Rudolph to lead this sleigh. He's got that bright nose, so that works pretty well. And Santa always wears his seatbelt. It's very important to wear your seatbelt because when you're up flying at 10,000 feet, you don't want to fall out of the sleigh. That could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the reindeer are very skilled at delivering Santa, and Santa's always very cautious. You have to be careful when you get out of the sleigh up on the roof, too. Sometimes those roofs are slippery. One time I slid right down, but thankfully I landed in a big pile of snow and I was just fine.
Ooh, was Mrs. Claus concerned?
Well, she wasn't with me and I did tell her about it, so that's our little secret. I don't want her to worry. She tends to worry a little bit,
We'll make sure she doesn't see this broadcast.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So earlier you mentioned that Christmas preparations start on the 26th. What else do you do on December 26th after you've completed the big night? You rest up. What else do you like to do?
Well, like I say, we load the cargo plane and go to Hawaii. We party a little bit, and do the hula. And just we have a great time. We hang out on the beach. But, we have to get right back to work. So we only take about a week at Hawaii. Then it's back. And when we get back to the North Pole, we're going to the North Pole Y to work out. And when the weather gets better, we run and we ride our bicycles and we keep in shape that way. And we start toy production right away because there's a lot of toys we have to make before Christmas. So it's a very busy time. We're busy at the North Pole year round.
Hmm. So then, how do you determine who's on the nice list, who's on the naughty list? Like, what are some determining factors for our buddies out there watching?
Well, a child should always obey their parents, their grandparents, and their teachers. And they should be nice to their friends and their brothers and sisters. It's very important to be nice and to obey. But I can tell you, sometimes kids goof up. Even when I was young, I was up at the North Pole, and one time I got in a snowball fight with Frosty. That was a losing battle. I got creamed. But then when I went back into the house, I was covered with snow. And it was dripping all over the rugs. And Grandma Claus was really upset because I was making a mess. So I had to get the mop out and clean up the mess. And then I went out and apologized to Frosty, and I was back on the good list. So kids, just remember, if you goof up, say you're sorry and try to be good. And everybody goofs up once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And do you have do you have something like an emergency list in case there's someone just on the border of naughty and nice? You know what I'm talking about?
I went digital this year.
Ooh.
So it's instant communication. And, if someone was not naughty and then I see they're nice, we also have the rapid delivery team. That's a little different team where they could deliver presents right to the house with a drone. It's pretty nice technology.
Ooh.
So if I didn't have something on my sleigh for the kid that all of a sudden became nice, the drone will deliver his present. So that makes it really easy. Technology is wonderful.
Wonderful. So it sounds like you're really keeping up with the times.
Well, we're trying. You have to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's good because that means you're willing to adapt. You're willing to really change, as much as the new toys are changing. So are you.
New toys.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, some of these kids come and they tell me what they want. And Santa's old fashioned. Someone tells me they want a drum or a dolly or maybe a Monopoly game. I understand all that. But some of these electronics, I listen and then I tell the elves because they're up on all the technology and all the newer things. Santa's a little old fashioned that way. But don't worry, the elves know all about that stuff.
Mm.
And they're the ones that run the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we have an automated system. We have racks where all the toys are stored. You punch in a code, it delivers a toy right to the sleigh. It's pretty amazing technology.
That's awesome. It sounds like the elves are really your buddies.
Oh, they are my best buddies. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The elves are tremendous guys.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, what do you think about them? What are What do you have to say about your elves?
Well, they're all well educated. What do you think they learn in school?
Toy making.
The alphabet. Plus, they take shop class. They learn to make toys too.
Nice. And they keep the reindeer in line and everything like that?
Oh, they do. They do very much. And the reindeer, they're a good group. They're just happy to serve Santa and happy to be there. We love our reindeer.
So what did the reindeer do in order to stay in shape for the big night?
Well, we have the Reindeer Olympics where they run several events and they jump the high bar. It's a lot of fun to see them work it out. And boy, they work really hard. Those reindeer are faster than a racehorse, believe it or not. They're really quick.
Wow. So it really gives truth to the song Run, Run, Rudolph.
Oh, absolutely. But then they take off in the sky and they magically fly. It's really something.
That is awesome. I wish I had the chance to see one day, you know?
Well, hopefully someday you will, but it's magic. Not everybody sees them, you know.
Exactly. If I do end up seeing it, then you'll skip my house because I'm not sleeping.
Good point, Nick. Kids, you want to be in bed and sleeping by the time Santa gets there, because if I see activity, I skip right over the house.
Or if you're even there and you hear activity, right back up the chimney.
Yep, right back up.
So Santa, you're a giver. You like to give presents. But what's the best present someone's ever given you?
Well, Nick, you know, you just said it. I'm a giver. I love to give presents. And that gives me great joy, more joy than actually receiving presents. So the best present for me is when a child's been good all year and I deliver that exact toy they were asking for, and I see the smile on that child's face. That smile is priceless. And that's Santa's best gift, is a smile of a child on Christmas Day.
That's wonderful. And what about, you told a really touching story last year about a Christmas miracle. So that kind of brings me up a thought about what's the best gift you've ever given somebody that you truly have seen like an impact from them, like an instant impact.
Well, one time Santa was at a school and a little girl came up and asked Santa, I said, little girl, what would you like for Christmas? She says, Santa, all I want is for my brother to talk again. And I thought, wow, boy, that sounds like a serious problem. So the little girl and I held hands and we said a prayer and we put her brother's problem into God's hands. And lo and behold, a few days later, her brother was talking again, and that little girl created a Christmas miracle.
That is the true definition of a Christmas miracle.
And it was a very, very touching thing for Santa and for the girl and for the whole family and for the community.
So Santa, now I got to ask, what do you think of Buddycast?
Hey, I think Buddycast is great. It presents my little buddy. A wonderful opportunity to entertain and educate and inform all his friends and all their friends. Well, you're a buddy around the world, buddy.
Which brings up my next question, which is from our buddy Jonas Kane at #Positivity. He wants to know, in Santa's own words, what does it mean to be somebody's buddy?
Well, you know, it's quite simple. A buddy is always loyal. He sticks with his friends no matter what. A buddy is always honest. He tells his friends the truth. And a buddy is always caring. He wants to make sure his friends don't get into trouble. So if he sees a friend doing something wrong, he'll say, hey, you know, maybe that's not such a good idea. And he helps prevent his friend from getting in trouble. So a buddy is a true friend, and we all need buddies.
We
And
do.
You've been a buddy to people all around the world, and that's an amazing thing, Nick.
Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling I'm on the nice list this year in that case.
You're heading that way. There's been a few little, not too many, but a few little things that, I've noticed that, I can tell you, Dick, we can all be better, every one of us.
Yes.
But I guarantee you by Christmas time, you'll be on the nice list because Santa's pretty forgiving,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing my best. It's all about the intention. I'm doing my best to be.
As long as you're doing your best. That's right. It's all about doing your best.
Mm-hmm. Which brings up our final question, Santa. For all the boys and girls out there, this is what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question, which is for all the boys and girls out there, what's your advice to them?
To love one another. That's Christmas is all about love. That's what Christmas is. Christmas is the love of Mary and Joseph for their baby boy. It was the love of the three kings and the shepherds for their new king. It was the love of God for sending his son to us. Christmas is love. And because of Christmas, man will live forevermore. So love. Love is the key. Love is the word of the day. Love.
Love. You heard it from Santa. Love one another. Be a buddy. Love
Absolutely.
one another.
Be a buddy. And you can't be a buddy without loving your friends. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, Santa, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today, to do this interview, and to really be a buddy. You know how I think we have to close out this interview? Would you like to sing? Yep. Would you like to sing a Christmas carol before we leave?
Oh, Santa's not much of a singer. You can sing it. I could accompany you maybe. Santa's not much of a singer.
All right. How about what's a good Christmas song we should sing?
My favorite is "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
How about that? We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Okay, I can tell you a little story. When Santa Claus was up at school at the North Pole, I was in about third grade, and I was singing my heart out for a Christmas pageant.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher came up to me and says, "Timmy, you don't really have to sing. You just mouth the words."
Oh,
so
you got it, Santa.
When we say, you're going to realize that I'm not much of a singer, but I have heart.
Santa, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Absolutely.
All righty. You ready? Even the First Lady will join in. You ready, Santa?
I'm ready.
All righty. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We
wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
Ho,
Good
ho,
tidings
ho.
we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good day. Ho, 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 ho.
Ho, 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 indeed. For my buddies out there, you know them, you love them. This is my buddy Santa Claus.
Be good
Please.
until Christmas, and I'll see you on Christmas Eve.
Yes, and Santa, before we go, I have one favor to ask you.
Sure.
The number one thing on my list this year is that whatever you do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year, please go be someone's buddy.
Always, friend, always. Thank you, Nick.
Yes. We'll catch you all next time here on everybody's favorite show, Buddycast.
Well, the days are going fast, buddy, we've got to make them last, buddy, before they've all gone past, buddy, tune in to Buddycast. But don't be nutty, go make it, buddy, here on Buddycast.